Welcome back to another episode of Hubler Automotive Group Coach's Corner. I'm your host, as always, Reese Byerly, and today I'm joined with my co-host, Zach Reese.
Good to be here.
Yep, Zach, great to have you. And today we are joined with the head football coach for the Franklin Community Grizzly Cubs, head coach Chris Coll. How you doing?
Very good. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. As the regular season wrapped up, your team finished 5-2 in the conference. That was good for second place in the conference. Tell me how, the regular season and the conference standings have you guys right now.
Yeah, it was a very competitive year in the conference. A lot of teams in the chase right to the very end. We kind of let ourselves slip a little bit there early in the season, but finished strong. So feel pretty good about maintaining that second place finish with Mooresville.
So with regular season coming in, it's transferring over to playoffs now. I know we actually had a bye week previous week. How do you incorporate that into your preparations?
I just we use it to go ahead and prepare for our first round sectional game, but it also gives us a chance to, we give the players a day off on that Monday. Obviously, we didn't do anything over the weekend with them, so we got 4 work days last week to work a little bit on opponent and put a little focus on us as well.
Kind of talking about injuries, every team kind of gets them here and there. And players have to step up due to that injury. Kind of tell me some players that have stepped up into some bigger roles this year for you guys.
Well, I think really our injury situation, we were pretty fortunate, but we did have a couple, pretty key injuries early in the season, especially with Alex Luger's going out in week 1. And I think it really impacted several guys, and we had a number of guys step up and fill roles based on that injury. I mean, John Shepard carried the load for us as a running back. Nick Barger and Caleb Owens played an important role, critical role at our tight end H-back position. And Caleb also got quite a few carries this season. So there wasn't any one player, but we had a number of guys kind of shift and fill in for that injury.
So speaking of stepping up, going into, I know that the JV season is actually over now. So how have the underclassmen really bought in now that their season's over?
I think just understanding that they play a critical role in the weekly preparation. Those guys practicing hard. Also understanding that they're really, this is the last look we're going to get of them in football equipment until next fall. So they're also out there working, kind of establishing themselves when we get to the 2023 season.
Obviously, sectionals is different than the regular season. You lose your out. Has your team kind of done the same preparation that they've done through the regular season, or done anything different? Or
no, not really. I mean, we keep everything pretty much the same from week 1 to week 10. Some adjustments in the schedule because of the bye week, but preparation, what we're worried about and what we're not worried about doesn't really change. Just trying to keep our focus on being the best team we can be, while also preparing for opponent's scheme. But nothing really changes. I mean, obviously the results are very important at the end of the night on Friday nights, because like you mentioned, if you lose, you're done. If you win, you advance. So we understand that. It's, kind of like a big rivalry game. We understand the implications of that, but really we're just trying to keep our focus on being the best football team we can be.
So touching on sectionals once again, I know that we drew Terre Haute South, so that's pretty far. I'd say farther than any other place that we play during the regular season. Has that affected practices at all? I know it's also on a grass field.
No, not really. We've spent a little bit of time on our grass practice field, but as far as the practice schedule, no. And having the bye week and being able to slow down a little bit last week before we got to this game week, obviously we'll do some things, schedule and logistics that maybe are a little bit different on Friday for that trip to Terre Haute, but it really doesn't have that much of an impact on anything. It's just more schedule on Friday than anything.
As a coaching staff, it's been a kind of a long while since you and everyone who's came in has beat Decatur. As a coach and as a coaching staff, does it feel like you've kind of lifted a little bit of a weight off your shoulders, knowing that a team we have struggled to beat for such a long time, we finally got the best of them?
Oh, I think that's important for the program. It's not really something you dwell on a lot, in the season. You're just trying to compete week to week, be a better football team from week to week. So it was a good win. It was a good win for our program, but it's not something we really spend a lot of time thinking about at this point.
Also, with sectional draw and everything going on, there's been a lot of media surrounding it. Have you felt that that's impacted the team at all or anything like that, or the fans?
I think everybody's excited. I think it's going to be a competitive sectional. This is a good Terre Haute South team we've got to go to on Friday night. You got Whiteland on the other side, obviously, who's one of the best teams, probably one of the best 5A team in the South. So it's going to be a competitive sectional. We're happy for the attention, and we're excited about the trip. Hope our Blue Crew and Grizzly Cub Nation makes the trip to Terre Haute. So we have a big show out there of our fans and our community. But really, from a football team standpoint, it's just trying to get prepared for that one game, win, and advance, and then you start over the next week if you do.
As a coach, you said playing on a grass field, you can't let it get to your team. Do you think that it could cause any factors in the game that your team hasn't played on a grass field? Obviously, you guys have practiced on it, but practice is not the same game level as any game level. Do you feel like that could cause any problems?
I don't think so. I mean, before I came here and I was at Tri-West, we would play on a turf field once or twice a year. I think they're doing more now. There's more turf fields up there now. I think if you want to dwell on it and think about all the differences, maybe, but not really. I mean, it's the field conditions will be the same for both teams. The only thing on a grass field that can really impact a game is mud and how that gets on the ball and your hands and things like that. But if that happens Friday night, it's going to be that way for both teams. So now the grass field part of it, I've spent 90% of my career coaching on grass fields, so I'm not too worried about it.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. Best of luck to you guys, as hopefully you guys make the best postseason run you can. Zach, it was great having you back today.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys.
And that was another episode of Hubler Automotive Group Coach's Corner.
Hubler is proud to be the official sponsor of Franklin Athletics. Score massive savings on all your favorite brands. Plus, get our 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty included. For all auto needs, just click drivehubler.com. Let's go Grizzly Cubs!